Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mita. Let's wait for 5 minutes for everybody to join in. Then we'll start with the class. Class 7, like class 8, A and C. In both of the classes, we were doing women, caste, and reform, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 8, 8, so where have we done in your class? Women, caste, and reform?
No, ma'am, we were reading the chapter.
No, that I know we were reading the chapter, but till where have we read the chapter? Eighth, any idea about it? Where have we read?
अबे
An eighth season, where have we read in your class?
Ma'am, till Swami Vivekanand.
Till Swami Vivekanand we have done.
मैम कुछ बोलो बोलो
What, Karthik? So now we have to start with Swami Dayanand, right? In 8th C. I can't see many children of 8th here. So let's get started with Swami Dayanand and the Arya Samaj. Right? We have not done this much this in class 8C, right?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mithat. Tell me, 8C, we have to start from Swami Dayanand, right?
गुड आफ्टरनून मैम
Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have to begin Swami Dayanand. Um, Arush, read.
Yes, ma'am. Wait a minute.
So, guys, let me give you just some insight of the chapter. We were reading a chapter, Women Empowerment. Here, we were reading about various reformers, right? How they have contributed in reforming the society, what all contributions they have given, what all reforms they have given. So, the theme of the chapter is basically there's no, we are connected with three, four things. Like most of the reformers have fought against the discrimination against the no the backward classes, caste system, sati, right? Differentiation amongst women, widow, like they wanted to allow widow remarriage, ban child marriage. So these are the main things which all the reformers have tried to, some changes which they want to brought in, right? So, and we will see just specifically which reformer has done what. More or less, it's almost the same. Take some people have done some little different things, it's just the way have been different, but they have all tried to advocate the same things that all of these social levels which were prevalent in the society back then needed to be ripped out. Okay? We read about Swami Vivekanand, we read about Rajaram Mohan Roy, etc. Now we'll begin with Swami Dayanand. Ready, Arush?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just wait a minute, Arush.
Swami,
Wait a minute, Arush. Before we start, I just like to want to take an update. Children, are you making the models which have I told you? Have you started working on them?
Yes, ma'am.
यस मैम
Yes. So when the
मैम
school,
व्हेन इज द लास्ट डेट ऑफ सबमिशन
yeah, I want them to bring it as soon as you can. The last day of the submission, like if the school, it depends upon when the school is going to reopen. If it's going to reopen tomorrow, I'll expect you to bring it tomorrow, and not tomorrow, then day after, but not later than that.
Ma'am,
ओके मैम
Sanji.
ma'am, can you please tell what all can we make?
See, I've told you a lot of things. You can make anything which represents the heritage of India. You can make any monument, right? You can make the model of any monument, right? You can prepare anything about the like any achievement of India, right? Anything which Indians, which we being Indians should be proud of. That is what you have to make. Monuments of India, like something very, very, very different about India from the rest of the world. Some contributions of India to the world. All these things can be made. Like India has
Ma'am,
given
can
the
we make a
contribution.
painting or something like that?
What?
Ma'am,
Good
can we make
afternoon.
something like a painting?
Mm, painting. No, I prefer models. Or charts can work, but I prefer like
Okay,
models
ma'am.
would be better option.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Rishika, I'll talk to you about it later. Okay, you can give me a call and then we'll discuss. So let's get
okay, ma'am.
started. Hanji Arush, go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Swami Dayanand's original name was Mool Shankar Tiwari. He considered the Vedas as the storehouse of true knowledge. He wrote his world famous book, The Satya Ratha Prakash, The Light of True Knowledge, in 1877 in simple Hindi. Back to Vedas was his clarion call. Dayanand founded the Arya Samaj at Bombay in 1875 to spread his ideas and reforms. He laid down the 10 principles of Arya Samaj.
Right, so Swami Dayanand's original name was Moon Shankar Tiwari, right? And he considered the Vedas as a storehouse of command की जो सारी true knowledge here, right? That is given in the Vedas, and the Vedas have been interpreted in different ways. The actual knowledge lies in the Vedas only. The Satya Prakash, the light of true knowledge, and his famous book was being published in 1877 in simple Hindi, and back to Vedas was his clarion call. Matlab, he was trying to tell the people to go back to Vedas because we have been very much influenced by the West and Western ideas. He was trying to tell people that we need to get back to our Vedas, we need to get back to our Veds and read them, and then we'll get the real and true knowledge. Okay. So he founded the Arya Samaj at Bombay in 1875 to spread his ideas and reforms. He laid down 10 principles of Arya Samaj. Basically, Arya Samaj kya hai? Let me give you an insight of it. Arya Samaj was a society which tries to ease down the rituals, right? Where if even whether it's a ritual of marriage, birth, death, everything is very eased out, right? Usually, what happens in Hindu religion when somebody dies, they have a very long procedure of 14, 15 days, right? But if we are doing it through Arya Samaj, then everything gets done within 3 days only. So they have eased out the rituals. There's no discrimination. They're allowed intercaste marriages, right? So mostly उस time पे जब intercaste marriages allow नहीं होती थी तो in आर्य समाज they could get like the intercaste can also get married and these kind of things were there. Okay, so let's read the ideas and works of Arya Samaj. Adrika read.
Okay, ma'am. Revival of Vedas and Vedic values. The Arya Samaj helped in the revival of the Vedas and the Vedic values. All the four Vedas are regarded by the Arya Samaj as the fountain of all knowledge and truth. Social reforms. In this field of social reform, the Arya Samaj opposed to rigidity of the caste
We
system
need is
and
rigidity, right? देखो पहला तो क्या है रिवाइवल ऑफ वेदास एंड वैदिक वैल्यूज जैसे मैंने आपको भी बताया फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट आर्य समाज वांटेड टू टेल people that we need to revive our Vedas and the Vedic values needs to be instilled among the people, right? जितने भी फोर वेदास हैं हमारे आर्य समाज को मानना था कि वही हमारी फाउंटेन है सारे नॉलेज एंड ट्रुथ की all the truth lies there, all the knowledge is coming from there only. नेक्स्ट दे वांटेड सोशल रिफॉर्म्स देखो सोशल रिफॉर्म्स चाहे तो आर्य समाज ने कहा कि हमें इतना रिजिड नहीं होना चाहिए रिगार्डिंग द कास्ट सिस्टम ही कंडेम्ड अनटचेबिलिटी child marriage forced widowhood sati parda dowry all such superstitions and religious sacrifices as much encourage widow remarriage intercaste marriage simple marriage and monogamy. Can you guys tell me what is monogamy? Can anyone tell me
Ma'am,
what's
marrying only one woman.
what बच्चे?
Ma'am, marrying only one woman.
Yeah, just like it is the exact opposite of polygamy. Polygamy means marrying multiple women, and monogamy means marrying only one. ठीक. So these are the things which they want, which they promoted, and there were the few other things which we have read that they have denied that they have fought against. Right. Arts must also open schools for women, including polytechnics, so that they can get uh technical training in several crafts as well. ठीक. Next is education. पढ़ो. Adrika, continue.
education. Arya Samaj made a unique contribution in the field of education. After the death of Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati in 1885, a group of his followers formed the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic Society to impart Vedic education combined with modern science and the English language.
Okay. So education में देखो उन्होंने बहुत यूनिक कंट्रीब्यूशन किया इन द फील्ड ऑफ एजुकेशन एज वेल. मदन सरस्वती की डेथ के बाद जो फॉलोअर्स थे उनके, right, they formed the DAV, like that is then Anglo Vedic Society to impart Vedic education, and DAV के नाम से there are various colleges as well, right, which have been opened later, DAV colleges. So they have combined education with the modern science and English language because they were also the belief that both of the things are important, should be taught together. Next we have is Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Okay, Shraddha, read it.
Yes, ma'am.
First,
Ma'am, we have to read from Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, right?
you have to read from Sir Syed Ahmad Khan.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, please give someone else to read, please.
Your voice is breaking, beta.
Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was an ardent religious reformer among the Muslims in India. He remained loyal to the Britishers even during the rising of.
What's the problem?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
What, huh, beta? We can hear you. Read.
He remained loyal to British even during the rising of 1857. After 1857, the English discriminated against the Muslims who kept themselves away from English education. Sir Syed Ahmad strove hard to remove the hostility of British rulers towards the Muslims. He also persuaded the Muslim to accept social, religious, and educational reforms to be able to change with the time. He advocated English education for the regeneration of Muslims. He asked his people to learn modern science and adopt modern ways of life and ideas. He asked them to return to the purity and simplicity of Islam.
Okay. So see, if we
In
talk about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, he was an ardent follower. Ardent का मतलब क्या हुआ? Ardent religious reformer means. What is the meaning of ardent here? What does ardent mean? Can anyone tell me? What's the meaning of ardent here? He was an ardent social religious reformer. Means he was very firm on his stand. He was very sure about it. Like even when the revolt of 1857 was taking place, then also because he was loyal to the British and before he was loyal to them at that point of time as well. Right. The English discriminated against the Muslims who kept themselves and like because after 1857 the Britishers believed that it was mainly the Muslims who have contributed in this revolt. So Sir Syed Ahmed strove hard to remove the hostility of British rulers towards the Muslims. उन्होंने बहुत कोशिश करी कि जो मुस्लिम्स की नफरत है और सर सैयद अहमद खान की जो ब्रिटिशर्स की नफरत है मुस्लिम्स के लिए उसे कहीं ना कहीं कम कर पाए. He also persuaded the Muslims to accept the social and religious educational reforms and to be able to change with time. उन्होंने मुस्लिम्स को भी कहा कि हाँ अभी थोड़ा समय के साथ बदलना चाहिए. He advocated the English education for regeneration of Muslims. उन्होंने कहा कि आप लोग को भी इस्लाम के साथ साथ English education भी लेनी चाहिए. And he asked his people to learn modern science and adopt modern ways of life. He asked them to return to the purity and simplicity of Islam. He said, like, just follow the Islam which it was in its initial time, the simple and pure. Why have you made it so complex, right? So that is what all the religious reformers and social reformers have been trying to tell, that whatever the society has, whatever rules the society have made now were not there in their religions earlier, right? It is just they have. these have just been imposed by the people onto the society, and we should just get away with them now. Next, then in 1864, he founded the Translation Society, which later came to be known as the Scientific Society at Aligarh. It published Urdu translation of English books on science and other subjects, and he also started English Urdu Journal for spreading liberal ideas on social reform. बहुत सारे उन्होंने नए नए ideas भी दिए social reforms पे, right? इन्होंने advocate किया removal of, मतलब देखो कहीं ना कहीं सबके same ही है. Even he removed the social evils like parda, polygamy, easy divorce, illiteracy amongst Muslim women, child marriage, etc. And the greatest work was the opening of MAO, Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College at Aligarh in 1875, which later came to be known as the Aligarh University, and it's still there. By giving education, humanities, and sciences, the college and the university fostered modern outlook amongst the Muslims. Right? Now, after this, we have the reform movement amongst the Sikhs, how the Sikhs started reforming themselves. So, amongst the Sikhs, the reform movement was started by Singh Sabhas, which were formed in Amritsar and Lahore. Right? ये कहाँ से स्टार्ट हुई सिंह सभा से जो कि अमृतसर लाहौर में हुआ करती थी. But later on, these two sabhas merged into one. बाद में दोनों सभा एक में मिल गई. Through the efforts of the Singh Sabha and the support of the British, the Khalsa College was founded in 1892 at Amritsar, right? अब जो भी सिंह सभा के एफर्ट्स रहे थे और ब्रिटिशर्स से जो सपोर्ट मिला तो इन्होंने खालसा कॉलेज बनाया अमृतसर में 1892 में. And this and another such institution promoted Gurmukhi Sikh teachings in Punjabi literature as whole. इन तीनों चीजों को प्रमोट किया. Besides imparting education in science and humanities as well. Okay, now next what do we have? Mithat, read next. Mithat, can you hear me?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Veerasalingam, Kandukuri Veerasalingam, also known as Kandukuri Veerasalingam Pantulu, was a social reformer of Andhra Pradesh. He was born in an Orthodox Andhra family. He is widely considered as the man who first brought about a renaissance in Telugu people and Telugu literature. He was influenced by the ideas of Brahmo Samaj, particularly those of Keshav Chandra Sen. In 1876, he started a Telugu journal and wrote the first prose for women. He encouraged education for women and started a school for girls in 1874. He started a social organization called Hitkarini.
Right. So basically, he was a social reformer of Andhra Pradesh, a very important name, and he was born into an Orthodox Andhra family. What's the meaning of Orthodox?
Ma'am, someone
Ma'am,
following old values and traditions.
right. People were with the old mindset, right? Purane vichar wale. So he was born into a family of like Orthodox family of Andhra. He is widely considered as a man who first brought about a renaissance in Telugu people and Telugu literature. वहाँ पे जो changes पहली बार आए थे वो यही थे. He was influenced by the ideals of the Brahmo Samaj, particularly those of Keshav Chandra Sen, and also started a general and wrote his first prose for women. He encouraged education for women and started a school for girls in 1874. He also started social organization called the Hitkarni. Hitkarni means किसी का अच्छा करने वाले, भला करने वाले. ठीक. Now women's emancipation, how are women emancipating this, this change or this reform period? What were they doing in it? Chalo, Rishika, read.
Okay, ma'am. Women emancipation. He started a magazine named Viveka Vardhani, Knowledge Improver, at Dhavaleswaram, in which he wrote about women's upliftment, criticized superstitious beliefs among people and rampant corruption among the high officials of the government. He launched Satihi Tabu. Ma'am, what it is?
Right, so if we see what was there in women's emancipation was that a lot of women, like they have started a magazine named Viveka Vardhani, that is knowledge improver, in which he wrote about women's upliftment. इन्होंने बहुत काम किया भी इसमें women's को uplift कराने के लिए, right? So he criticized the superstitious beliefs among people and rampant corruption among the high officials. जो भी corruption चल रहा था उसको हटाया या फिर जो superstitious beliefs थे उनको condemn किया, and he launched Sahitya Bhumini, a special magazine for women. Through it, he enlightened women about their rights and also organized Raj Mundri Social Reform Association. Initially, he concentrated on the anti-Nautch movement to discourage the hire of Nautch girls of celebration, but later concentrated on widow remarriage. Can anyone tell me the meaning of Nautch girls here? What is the meaning of this Nautch? Can anyone tell me
Ma'am, a
what is the meaning
dancing.
of? हाँ बेटा?
Ma'am, a dancing girl for the
Yeah,
entertainment of men.
exactly, dancing girls, right? Which are used for entertainment. So at first he was on this anti-Nautch movement where he did not want the girls to be used for such purposes. But later on, he also concentrated on widow remarriage. He organized the first widow remarriage in Andhra Pradesh in 1881. He succeeded in bringing a change in the mindset of the people, and gradually more and more people accepted widow remarriage. जैसे लोगों ने इस चीज को accept करना शुरू कर दिया. His progressive thoughts brought in severe criticism. जो उसके thoughts हैं उनसे काफी criticism आया, right? But opposition but he continued unabated and fought to abolish child marriage. लोगों ने उन्हें criticize किया कि क्या कर रहे हो क्या नहीं कर रहे हो, but he did not give it a thought. He continued doing the good work and also fought to abolish child marriage. ठीक. Next we have Sri Narayana Guru. Karan read. Karan read.
Sri Narayana Guru, a significant movement of betterment of the oppressed people, was started in Kerala by Sri Narayan Guru. He was born in 1848 in an Ezhava family. This caste was considered untouchable by the Hindus. Narayana Guru devoted his whole life to the upliftment of Ezhavas and other downtrodden people. He founded many temples in which gods and their images, idols, had no place. In the first temple founded by him, Sri Narayana installed a stone from a nearby stream. The stone carried the following words: "Here is the place where all people live in fraternity without caste distinction and religious rivalry." In 1903, he founded the Sri Narayan Dharm Paripalana Yogam, which became an important organization to carry out social reforms. Sri Narayan Guru idol was one caste, one religion, and one God. For all, he pop- popularized his idol amongst the people of Kerala. Some other social reformers in southern India raised their voice against the evil of Devdasis, ban on temple entry for the oppressed section, and other forms of discrimination. They wanted that the wealth of the temple should be under the control of the people, not in the hands of the priests.
Okay, thank you. Right. So according to him, देखो इन्होंने बहुत ही अच्छा ही काम जो किया इन्होंने. He was a movement for betterment of the oppressed people, right? मैंने आपको बताया here somebody was fighting for like the social evils like girl remarriage, widow remarriage, etc. And some were fighting for the oppressed classes. So he was one person who was very willingly fighting for the oppressed people, and he started his thing in Kerala. He was born in 1848 in a Izawa family, and Izawa caste itself was considered untouchables by the Hindus, and he devoted his entire life for the upliftment of the Evawas, ठीक, and other downtrodden people कि जितने भी इस टाइप के लोग हैं उनको uplift करवा पाए उन्होंने बहुत सारे temples खोला, and the very unique thing of his temples was that in के temples में you will not find any idols of the gods or any gods like that. What did he do is he just put up a stone there from a riverside, and there he wrote that in this temple he founded like he installed a stone and wrote on it that here is a place where all people live in fraternity. What is the meaning of fraternity, children? What does fraternity means? What is fraternity?
Ma'am,
Can you tell me?
brotherhood.
Ma'am, brotherhood, togetherness
Brotherhood,
without
right? Where he said that we all live
brotherhood.
together as brothers and sisters. We all live together as one. There is no upper class, no lower class, right? And in 1903, he founded the Sri Narayan Dharma Paripalana Yoga, which became an important organization to carry out these reforms. Right, his idol was one caste, one religion, one God for all. He popularized his idols among the people of Kerala and some other social reformers in southern India as well. Right, they all raised their voices against the evil of Devadasis, ban on temple entry of the oppressed sections, and other forms of discrimination. They all wanted that wealth of the temple should be under the control of the people and not under the priest. ठीक. Next, we have Jyotiba Phule. Shivam, read about Jyotiba Phule.
Okay, ma'am. Jyotiba Govindra Puri, also known as Mahatma Jyotiba Puri, was a social reformer, writer, philosopher, scholar, editor, and revolutionary from Maharashtra. Jyotiba Puri and his wife were the pioneer of women education in India. His remarkable influence was apparent in fields like education, agriculture, caste system, women and widow upliftment, and removal of untouchability. He is most known for his efforts to educate women and the lower caste as well as Bhujan people. He, after educating his wife, opened the first school for girls in India in August 1848. In 1873, he wrote a book named Gulimirgiri. Jayotaba opposed the Brahmins, claimed that they were superior to others since they were Aryanas. Puli argued that Aryanas were foreigners who came from outside the subcontinent and defeated and subjugated the true children of the country. Those who had lived here from before the coming of the Aryanas, according to Puli, the upper caste, had no right to their land and power in reality. The land belonged to ingenious people, the so-called low caste. Puli claimed that before Aryana rule, there existed a golden age, when warrior peasant titled the land and ruled the Maratha countryside in just and fair ways. He proposed that Shudras, laboring castes, and anti-Shudras, untouchables, should unite to challenge caste discrimination. The Satya Shuk Samaj, an association who founded propagated caste equality. The book Gulimegiri was dedicated to all those Americans who had fought to end slavery, thus establishing a link between the conditions of the lower castes in India and the black slaves in America. As this example shows, Puri extended his criticism of the caste system to argue against all forms of inequality. He was concerned about the rights of upper caste women, the miseries of laborers, and the humiliation of low caste.
Yes, thank you so much, Shivam. So, see, Jyotiba Phule का नाम आप लोगों ने वैसे भी सुना होगा. He is one such social reformer which you must have been aware of, right? He is also known as Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. He was a social reformer, writer, philosopher, revolutionary from Maharashtra. He and his wife were the pioneer of women's education in India. Well, these were people who have carried the flag of providing education to all the women in India. His remarkable influence was apparent in fields like मतलब इनका जो influence वो आपको देखने को मिलेगा in the field of education, agriculture, caste system, women and widow upliftment, and the removal of untouchability. Right? See children, that is the only thing. मैं तो बताऊँ हम लोग क्या करो, you can make a chart, right? अपने आपका अपना ये chapter easy बनाएंगे because ये बहुत lengthy chapter है, कैसे पढ़ोगे? The easiest way for you will be just make out a chart or just write down the features of these, like जैसे हम लोग वो लिखते हैं ना bio sketch. When we write a bio sketch of some person, we just get few details of those people. So तुम लोग भी यही करो, just write down the name of these reformers and then write their details. Almost the like the things they have fought for are the same only, then चार पांच बस learn कर लो जो common हो. That is how you can make this chapter very easy for you instead of reading it all over again for during your exams. Just list out the important points and go through it. That's it. So he's known for his efforts to educate women and the lower class as well as the Bahujan people. After educating his wife, अपनी wife को पढ़ाने का उन्होंने school खोला इंडिया में, right? And he wrote the book named Gulamgiri, right, which opposed the Brahmins, claimed that they were superior to others. Brahmins जो कहते हैं हम superior हैं, he has claimed that this is wrong because the Brahmins were Aryans, right? And do you know that Aryans are not the original inhabitants of India? Are you aware of this fact? क्या आपको पता है ये चीज?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Where have they come from?
Ma'am, northwest of Indus, somewhere around Iran, Afghanistan.
Exactly, yes. They were not the original inhabitants of India. The Brahmins, they are also people who have come to India and established themselves here, right? So they cannot just claim their land, their right on on our land and this and that. So he said, according to Fuller, the upper caste had no right to their land and power. In reality, the land belonged to the indigenous people and the so-called lower caste. जिन्हें ये लोग lower caste कह रहे हैं, actually में तो land उनका ही है ना. It is just like the South America, in South America, the Britishers have established themselves and treated blacks in a very harsh way. Kind of the same thing he has tried to uh, convey in his book Gulamgiri. Fully claimed that before Aryan rule, there existed a golden age where warrior peasants tilled the land and ruled the Maratha countryside in just and fairness. उन्होंने बताया कि आर्यंस के आने से पहले एक बहुत ही गोल्डन पीरियड था इंडिया में जहाँ पे सब इक्वली रहते थे, कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं था, कुछ ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं होता था, राइट. एंड he proposed that Shudras and Atishudras should unite to challenge the caste discrimination. जो शूद्रस है उन लोग को एक साथ आके कास्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन को चैलेंज करना चाहिए. The Satyodhak Samaj, an association of fully founded propagated caste equality. The book Ghulamgiri was dedicated to all those Americans who had fought to end slavery and thus establishing a link between the conditions of the lower caste in India and the black slaves in America. As this example shows, Fuller extended his criticism of the caste system to argue against all forms of inequality. He was concerned about the plight of the upper caste women, the miseries of the laborers, and the humiliation of the low caste. So, children, do you have any doubt till here? Any confusion till here? Tell me, do you have any doubt? Fine, now tell me, who is called the father of Indian Renaissance? Who is known as the father of Indian Renaissance?
Can you repeat?
The question
Ma'am,
is, who is
can you
known as the
repeat?
father of Indian Renaissance?
Raja Ram Mohan Roy.
Very good, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Next question, who founded the Pratna Samaj? Yes, Mitharth?
Ma'am, the Pratna Samaj.
Yes, who founded the Pratna Samaj?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, I'm not very sure. Ishar Chandra Vidyasagar.
Peter, your voice is not clear. Could you please say it again? What are you saying?
Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar.